you mind just saying who you are before you speak?
Hi, my name's Laura Welty. I just really wanted to come back on what's been said, because I think there are two areas that you've skipped over there. I mean, in the case of the guy from the Evening Post, in one part of the paper, working carefully to have dealing with a sensitive issue well, you've then got your columnist who is as disablist, racist, etc. as possible, because obviously there is a certain market for that. But also with the rest of you, it's the language and terminology you use as well. And that there are things like, for example, I work with disabled people. Media are always referring to the able-bodied or things like that, which are really objected to by disabled people. So I'm requesting really that you think a lot more about the language you use and the balance of effect you're going to have between a negative story, as in your columnist, and a positive one that may be on page 8.
Thanks very much. I tell you, I'm sorry, I know a couple more hands have gone up. Just conscious of time and making sure we get all the questions in, or at least a question from each group. Can I mean,
go back.
you can have 30 seconds, which probably means 45. But.
I just wanted to come back on the point about, I'm kind of curious who the racist columnist is, but...
Is it Beelzebub?
Right, I'm still not sure who we're talking about. But the issue that we've got to make there is to draw the distinction between the editorial part of the newspaper and then the comment side of it. Now, I don't think we would look to allow anyone who made racist remarks. Now, if we have, then we shouldn't have, but I'm struggling to think who we're talking about here, but again, it's drawing the distinction between somebody who has an opinion and is given that platform, and then the news gathering aspect of it, in which we try to be fair and even-minded.
Yeah, I mean, sure we could pick up. I mean, there are things printed on. Be fair to give you a right reply. There are things printed on the letters pages that sometimes kind of Bristol, like the justification letters for voting for the BNP, that can kind of be given away because it's a reader comment, but actually kind of have an air of credibility to them because now they appear in print in a lens of a paper. And I think things like that would be a challenge in terms of just presenting balance.
But then you do get into a very difficult area of what do you censor?
Mm-hmm. It is a difficult area.
I mean, I'm not, don't get me wrong here, I'm not for 1 minute, we can talk about the Newsnight thing this week, but I'm not for 1 minute going to defend the BNP, but if the BNP gets votes, then it's a legitimate topic of debate, if I can put it that way, and the people who are against the BNP have every opportunity to say what they feel about it, but I think it would be dangerous ground to stifle the debate.
Okay, we're gonna have to move on from there. I'm really sorry. Pick things up after. You know, we got lunch and plenty of time for discussion. Can we go to group 3, please? And remember your name, the main theme of your group, and then your question, please.
Hi, my name's Tom Greenwood, and the question we had was, how does the panel think that not-for-profits should balance using new media channels to directly communicate with people who might be more interested in the stories that they have to tell with traditional media channels? So I'm thinking YouTube, Facebook, our own websites and various discussion forums, whether there's some sort of competition between the two or whether they can actually work in parallel.
Can we maybe start with yourself there, Stacy?
Yeah, well that's obviously an interesting avenue that Community Heart is looking at exploring. I mean, obviously it's really cost effective because it doesn't cost very much to use social media and also reaches perhaps people that we haven't been reaching before, so young people. But I think that one of the problems that we probably have with that is that it can't, I think that at the moment it's only got to be an add-on to what we're already doing. It can't really be looking to replace it because there is probably a lower percentage of people that have access to the internet and computer at home in the area where we're working than you know, perhaps in some of the more affluent areas of the city. But in terms of young people accessing it, obviously through school and college, and they have access to the internet, so we are looking at exploring that to get younger people involved. But in all our kind of research about how people want to hear about us and what we're doing, it's always through events and through things through the door. I mean, you can do every single way possible and still somebody will say, I've never heard about it, but you just got to take that on the chin and just keep going. But I think that people do still want that face-to-face communication with people. They still want to get a piece of paper that they like to read. So I think for the people that we're working with at the moment, we need to still do those things, but look at exploring these other new media to get younger people, and also as a cost-effective way of communicating.
Okay, Phil?
Yeah, exactly what Stacy says. Social new media, if anybody can do it, please help us, because we need to as well. We've sort of embraced it, but in a radio type way. We stream our signal as well, so people outside of Bristol can hear us, because there's a lot of people that want to know what's happening with the Somali population, what's happening with the Sudanese, what's happening with young people in Bristol. And we're getting on average about 30,000 people doing that every month, which is an amazing service. So recently we started podcasting, which is another way of getting people to listen to us. That's a slight aside. We do have interviews, and it always amazes me how our presenters can turn what to me would seem a fairly bland story. We've just launched this website. We've just gone national on Facebook. I think that's not going to work on radio, but actually there's all the backstory as to, well, what's the website trying to do? So again, it's that added benefit really. You're not just contacting us to promote or do a website, an interactive website. In fact, Matthew was on our station a while ago talking about a survey that had gone out to households in Bristol. How goddamn boring is that? Asking people to fill out a survey about do they feel as though they can make a difference in communications, and I forget what it was. But the way he did it was really interesting, because there was all the social side to it, and what we have at BCFM is we do have disabled people working with us. We have Somali people, we have Sudanese, we have Asians. Ramadan was there, we had loads of Asian people on there. So we can give you niche markets, which is really good. So if you want to hit different markets, different types of people, then you know, a media like us or medium like us is good. So it's not really answering the question about social and new media, but we will talk about it, but you have to give us that extra thing as to exactly what is it, because to advertise your new Twitter site or your new website isn't great for us.